Shalom, Israel. This is Sister Kana, and I wanted to go into the holy feast days. Our feasts are coming up, and I just want to make sure that this year we do not worship Moloch and Baal. So this video is going to be called "No More Moloch and Baal Worship" to the GOCC and to Israel as a whole. We cannot afford to go against the Most High any longer. For the last 3 years, you have been worshiping Moloch and Baal. And the holy days have been off every year for the last 3 years. And so I've been trying to blow the trumpet, and now I'm just going to try to give you it and show you without a doubt that the days are wrong. First, I want to give all glory and praise to Yashayah, Bahashem, Yashayah, and thank him for loving us and, opening my eyes so that I can see and have some level of understanding about these things. And I just want to praise his holy name. I'm going to also use the elders' video and just go piece by piece, and we're going to go into scripture so you'll know that there is something wrong. And I expressed it that about the CIA infiltration. I believe it's 100% true, and I'm not backing down from that because I know something is wrong, and I don't believe brothers and sisters can turn a blind eye to this any longer. And I didn't want to wait till the last minute on the feast day like I've been doing, thinking that, hoping that brothers would do the right thing. And it's not happening. So I'm praying that, people open their eyes and see what's really going on. You're being deceived, you're being lied to. These holy days are wrong. And I'm going to go from the last video that was created by the GOC, the correct months.
Go into, and hopefully I can get through it, and then we can go into the next part of the lesson we wanted to go into based on what's happening in Bible prophecy today. The first thing is we had our one of the advanced lessons, and we were discussing the cycle of the month, or what you would call the 30-day or lunar cycle, according to the moons. All right, and the reason we were discussing this is
okay. Now, so the first part of this is the elder said that there's a 30-day cycle for the calendar. Now, that in itself is incorrect. Now, if you go into the book of Enoch, when you go into the book of Enoch, to chapter 72, it gives you it goes into the understanding about the luminaries. So that whole chapter 72, when you scroll down to chapter 74, you go to 74 and 15. Chapter 74, verse 15. No, I'm sorry, 16. It says, "For in 8 years she falls behind to the amount of 80 days. All the days she falls behind in 8 years are 80. And the year is accurately completed in conformity with their world stations and the stations of the sun, which rise from the portals through which the sun, rises and sets in 30 days." Now, I wanted to read that because it's talking about the sun. The sun has a 30-day cycle, but we don't base our calendar off the sun. So that information right there is incorrect, and I'm going to show you why. He was talking about the sun has a 30-day cycle. So when you go down to chapter 78 and read, now this paragraph is talking about the moon, and we base our calendar on the moon. Every new moon, it changes the cycle of the month. If you go down to chapter 78, verse 15, it reads, and the 3 months she makes of 30 days. And at her time she makes 3 months of 29 days, in which she accomplishes her waning in the first period of time. And in the first portal for 177 days, and in the time of her going out, she appears for 3 months of 30 days each, and for 3 months she appears of 29 each. Now, this chapter, this verse is talking about the cycle of the moon. And it says that the moon has 6 months of 30 days and 6 months of 29 days. This is the cycle of the moon. And when you do the calendar, this is what you should base your calendar off. That 6 months out of the year you will get 30 days in a month, and then 6 months out of the year you will get 29 days. That is the moon cycle. And that is what you get when you do your calendar. So right there, that tells you that the elder gave inaccurate, because if you're basing the calendar on 30 days for the whole year, you're going to have incorrect days. And you're basing it off the sun. And we don't follow the sun. We follow the moon, the moon cycle of the moon. The Gentiles and the Romans and the Babylonian calendar is based off the sun. And this is one of the reasons why we've always been worshiping Moloch and Baal. Okay, so that's one thing. So now I want to go into the calendar itself. Now when you go into the calendar, our next feast is the Feast of Purim. And look on this paper I printed out of the new moon cycle. Let me show it. Okay, the calendar, new moon. You go down. I don't know if you can see this, but you should be able to. February. See that? February 21st, 22:36 is the time. So actually, that's when you count the 24-hour clock. 22:36 actually goes into the next day. So it would be like February 22nd, really. Now, but because the Most High's calendar is not the same as the calendar for the Gregorian, we don't use that time that they give. And because you don't use the time, it's because it will throw your calendar off. So we disregard the time and we just go according to the date. And I'll tell you why.
In order to get the formula that Enoch gave us, which is the only example that we have, in order for us to get that formula, we cannot go by the time that is given to us when we go on the internet. Because the time that they're given is according to the sun, the cycle of the sun. And we don't base our months according to the sun. We go by the moon. When we have a new moon is when we change our month. So you cannot go by the time that is given. You just go by the day. And when you just go by the day, it will keep you in the formula that Enoch gave us. The 30-day for 6 months and 29 days for 6 months. We have to use that formula.
So right there, that tells you that the elder's days are going to be off. He's going by the cycle of the sun. But we base our calendar off the cycle of the moon. Okay. So now the Feast of Purim starts at sundown on the 4th of March. Now, the reason why you go to, now let me just say this. We know the Saturday Sabbath is the seventh day, right? It's over here in red. This is the Saturday Sabbath. They're always in red, right? But it's the seventh day, but we usually go to Friday night, the sixth day at even, to start the Sabbath, our Sabbath rest. That is the formula that we do. This is the formula. The seventh Friday night, the sixth day at even, to start the Sabbath, our Sabbath rest. That is the formula that we do. This is the formula. The seventh day is the Sabbath, but we go to the sixth day as the start of the Sabbath, at sundown, at even. The same formula goes for all the feast days, the new moons, and any other thing regarding the calendar.
Which brings us to our next holy feast, which is the Feast of Purim, and it falls on the 14th day, which is the 5th of March. Now, in order for us to keep this day with the same formula, the 5th of March, we started on the sundown on the 4th of March. So that starts the Feast of Purim. Sundown, the 4th of March. And I think the elders have corrected this particular day, and which is wonderful. But when we go into the rest of the calendar, they have not seemed to correct that. Now let's go to the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, because this is a very important date for us. The Feast of Unleavened Bread, when we go into the scriptures, tells us it starts on the 15th day. The 15th day. So if it's on the 15th day, that means it starts at sundown on the 14th day, which also is the day we start the Passover. Now, when we go into the scriptures, the scriptures tells us that at even on the 14th day is the Lord's Passover. Now, the thing is that you have to figure out which even, because it can be the evening before or the evening, at nighttime, bringing it in the next day. And so that's where you really have to figure out, for sure, what the time frame. So when you go into Exodus 12:6, it tells you, and ye should keep it up until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. So this is talking about the lamb and when it should be killed. And so in the next verse it says, Exodus 12:7, and they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper doorposts of the houses wherein they shall eat. So this gives you the time frame that the Passover starts. It's on the 14th day at even. It's the same time as the Feast of Unleavened Bread. But even still, if you know that the Feast of Unleavened Bread starts on the 15th day, the scripture clearly tells you that means it starts sundown on the evening of the 14th. And so the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread is actually the same. The Passover feast and the Feast of Unleavened Bread actually start at the same time. And please examine these scriptures. Exodus 12:18, it says, in the first month, on the 14th day of the month at even, ye shall eat unleavened bread until 21st day of the month at even. Again, in the first month, on the 14th day of the month at even, ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month. This is regarding the Feast of Unleavened Bread. It starts on the 14th day at even. Okay? Which we now understand is the 15th day. The Feast of Unleavened Bread is on the 15th day, but it starts at the 14th day at even, which is the same time the Most High tells us that we are to start the Passover. When you go to Deuteronomy 16 and 6, it says, "But at the place which the Lord thy God shall choose to place his name in,